7 p.m. October 3rd, and we are going to open up our public hearing. This public hearing is on Ordinance 2022-26 to convey town-owned real property in exchange for transfer of real property for the purpose of designing and constructing a roundabout. We have one speaker this evening. Jerry, come on up, sir. Jerry, if you can just state your name.
Jerry Barges, 1701 South Main Street.
Thank you, sir.
The only thing I can say is I don't want it in front of my house, but either way, it's going to happen. So the amount of property that we had discussed being transferred in between doesn't equal out to what we want for that section of property, for that to be in my front yard. Nobody wants to look out their front door, see curbs and taking out trees that have been planted there forever. That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you, Jerry. All right. Anyone else would like to speak on this? All right, perfect. It is 7:02. I will go ahead and close this public hearing on Ordinance 2022-26 to convey town-owned real property in exchange for the transfer of real property for the purpose of designing, constructing a roundabout. We'll go ahead and get started with our regular town council meeting at 7:30. Thank you. All right, good evening. It is 7:30. It is also October 3rd. Welcome to our town council meeting. Thank you to all those joining online. You can be watching on carrollmediacenter.org or our town Facebook page as well. Earlier this evening, we had our public hearing on Ordinance 2022-26 to convey town-owned real property in exchange for the transfer of real property for the purpose of designing and constructing a roundabout. We had a speaker on that. So we'll go ahead and get started with our regular town council meeting. So I'll call this to order, and we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We don't have any, pardon me, we do have a presentation. Mayor, I'll turn this over to you for the certificates of appreciation.
Test, test. Tonight, I'm kind of catching up on some thank yous that I've owed people for quite a while, some people since even in the spring. But it's great that people are willing to volunteer on commissions, and we greatly appreciate it. And when they decide that it's time to either move on to another commission or move on to some other adventure, I think it's very important that we offer them a big thank you. And the council agrees with us, and they provided certificates for 4 of the members tonight that have resigned since I took office almost a year ago, 11 months ago. So I'm going to pull them out here, and we'll go one by one. And if the council liaison to that commission would want to come up, then we can do a picture with each individual, and we'll see which one we start with here. So we'll start with Mark Moxley. Could you please come up? Mark has resigned from the Water and Sewer Commission, but he stays with us on the election board. So that's terrific. Jason, did you want to come up? Okay, we'll let you hold that, and got a little card there for you. I'll get on one side, Jason is on another, and John will take the picture. All right. right,
Thank
thanks.
you, Mark. Appreciate it.
See you in
Thank you.
May. Second of all, from the Economic Development Commission, Morgan Rock, could you please come up? So Morgan served on the EDC for several months. We appreciated having him on there, and but you got some other issues now. So when you're ready, we'll bring you back on, and greatly appreciate what you've done for us. There you go. I'll let you hold
Thank
back.
you, sir.
Here's a card and a little something. All right, thanks, Morgan. Appreciate it. Next up, Scott Sergio. Scott served for years on the Planning Commission. We appreciate you, all the time that you spent on there and everything that you added to the commission. If you'll come on up. Give you that. So, all right, thank you. Yep. Thanks a lot, Scott. Appreciate it. I should let you know there's a little gift card in here, but I paid for this one because it's my daughter. Elizabeth Hushauer, can you come up here? Elizabeth has served on the Mount Airy Sustainability Commission for several months once again, but now you're teaching music and had to move on. So, but thank you so much for your time. And that's all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. We'll go ahead and move into public comment. John, if we can turn that podium, please. And during public comment, we ask that you keep your comments to 2 minutes so that we can get through the rest of our meeting. And Bob, come on up. You know I'm not going to call you Mr. King. We know we saved that for your father.
And I've got 5 minutes.
I'm sorry.
But lots of people are going to come up and let your time go for me. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Council President, distinguished council members, revered town staff, and concerned citizens. Good evening. My name is Bob King. I currently reside in southeast Georgia, but my heart will always be here in Mount Airy. My family lived here for 30 years. I'm here to speak as a former elected 2-term town councilman. I had the privilege of serving with some of you, including Mayor Hushauer, who was on the council and later served as our council president. Elected officials take their share of criticism, and that's fair, but they deserve credit also as well for serving and volunteering the time to do what they believe is best for the town and its residents. Short of breath. I know most of you, and you are honorable people. Your first and primary concern when you disagree with each other or the citizens is to serve the town. Some days are like that. Usually the electeds that sit around this table here have strong personalities. Getting them to interact respectively with each other can be a challenge. Disagreeing on any subject can be a good thing and beneficial to the outcome. And when the citizens strongly feel one way or another on an issue, emotions can run high. I have not missed watching a town council meeting since I relocated to Georgia, and I'm here to ask you guys, the elected officials and the citizens that are coming in, tone down the heat. You can't get anything done. Nothing is wrong with citizens' complaints or citizens criticizing elected officials, but there's a line between abuse between fair comment and lack of civility. When I ran for a council position, after experiencing the privilege of being elected, my views on certain things were not the same as the mayor at the time, Mayor Pat Rockenberg. At first, we clashed on issues. It was very uncomfortable. I suggested to him that we meet and talk and at least try to understand each other's positions more clearly. We might continue to disagree, and sometimes we did, but always with civility. After several months of working with him, we found common ground more often than not. Our respect and affection for each other grew, and I was proud to call him my friend, and even prouder when he came to call me his friend before his timely passing. I was proud. I'm going to do that one again. I was proud to call him my friend, and even prouder that he came to call me his friend before his untimely passing. Mayor Pat joined me in establishing a civility training program, which was attended by the town council and town staff. It was so eye-opening that the class was offered to the public through the Carroll County Library system. We came to understand that we were elected by the same citizens. They wanted us to do our jobs, do them in a timely fashion, and do them respectfully. The town has had some recent controversial issues to contend with. The meetings have become heated at times. Adding fuel to the fire, the citizens have taken this to social media, making personal attacks on town council members, accusing them of taking bribes, being in the pockets of developers, and threatening to hold protests at their homes. They show up at town council meetings, planning commission meetings, board of appeal meetings, demanding respect and insulting the members of those commissions. Some issues have specific time frames that need to be met, along with the studies and zoning requirements that many citizens are not aware of. I once again mention the word civility. Let us not forget what this great town of Mount Airy stands for and the people who reside in it. Let the town council do the job they were elected to do. Eliminate use of outside voices and shouting matches with inappropriate language that has no place in this revered chamber. Mayor Hushhour, you have the ability to pull this government together. I know you can. I've watched your leadership through the many special projects that you've accomplished as a town volunteer. The current town council would jump to your side to help with meaningful projects and welcoming invitations. I know your job is tough, but I also know that you are capable of great leadership and pulling our town together. I ask that you do that. That will be your legacy if you so choose. On my right wrist, I wear a small silver bracelet engraved with 39.3762 degrees north, 77.1547 degrees west. That's the longitude and the latitude of our town. My wedding band is the most significant or the most meaningful piece. That's 48 years and counting with my lovely wife. This bracelet takes a close second. It reminds me of who I am, where I am, and who I serve. Should I ever get lost or stray from my roots, all I need do is look at my wrist. The information contained there will lead me right back home to my heart here in Mount Airy. Thank you for your service to our town.
You must have practiced that. That was 5 minutes on the dot. Good job, buddy. Yeah. If anyone else has public comment, you also would be granted your 5 minutes.
I don't need it. I don't think I need it.
To be fair,
All right. My name is Mike Eco. I think everybody knows that by now. Good evening, Council President Poirier, the council members, and Mayor Hushhour. At the last meeting, on several different occasions, it was mentioned that the Historical Society needs to put skin in the game when it comes to preserving the Flatiron Building. I'd like to address that. The Historical Society is not a nameless, faceless organization. it is made up of some very, very good people who have lived in this town all their lives. It's these people that have worked countless hours over the last many years researching and recording and preserving the history of this town. They've, in addition to that, they teach it. They go out, they do presentations, they do exhibits. We go to meetings and we give presentations and exhibits at those meetings. So we're out there constantly promoting the town and its history. And to say that they need to put skin in the game implies that they haven't, and that is us really a slap in the face to all those people who have done that work. But anyway, in addition to that, I just want to point out one thing. The Historical Society several years ago, and Barney can attest to this, worked hard to rebuild the whole bottom floor of that Flatiron building. So it's not like we haven't done anything to that building in addition. And also, those people that for some reason seem to be faceless and nameless are members of our fire company. They're members of the local churches. They work the food kitchens. They work Mount Airy Net. They do all kinds of community activity that makes this the community that it is, makes this a place where people want to visit and want to live. So, and not only that, but the last thing I'll bring up before I shut up is most of the members of this historical society are tax-paying residents of this town. So it is their skin that's in this game. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Any other public comments? All right, seeing none, thank you very much. Council members, and a quick note to the public, next was going to be Dick Swanson, who is our commission chair to the ethics, talking about internal controls. Council members, I have provided to you the letter from the chairman, Dick Swanson, that he sent directly to the mayor and myself. Mayor, I just copied that letter and gave it to all the council members, just so that you guys are aware. The letter addresses some concerns related to tuition reimbursement, as well as the ever-popular water bill scandals, I guess. All right, moving on. Next up, we'll go to the approval of the council meeting minutes, as well as the closed meeting minutes. First up is September 2022, the town council meeting minutes, as well as September 22 public hearing meeting minutes related to the Charter Amendment Resolution 2022-2, Finance, Budgeting, and Purchasing. I'll make a motion for those approvals. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, Councilwoman Reed seconds. Hearing any major changes to these minutes? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. The minutes have passed for September. And next up, we have our chief to give his monthly report. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening. Everybody, Chief Reitz with the Mount Airy Police Department's monthly report. Before we get started tonight, I want to take a moment and introduce one of our newest members. Didn't prepare a speech for him. I know he wants one, but I know him well enough that I can talk off the cuff about Patty. We've gone through a little bit of a reorganization at the police department. We've lost our lieutenant and a civilian member, so what we have done is done a little bit of a realignment there. We've combined two jobs for a new civilian position, and that is called the Police and Investigative Services Manager. Basically, Mr. Lacey is my executive officer in the department, so he has a lot of influence over the officers as well, based upon his experience. And I'll give you a little bit of background on Patty. Patty's almost a 30-year lieutenant with the Maryland State Police. Patty and I worked together in the Criminal Investigation Division at Westminster Barrack in my previous life. We shared an office space. We know each other very well. Patty went on after I left. He was an instructor at the police academy. He instructed for 4.5 years the criminal law segment at the academy and worked with recruits. He also was a detective sergeant in Cumberland at Westminster Barrack as well. And then he went on and promoted to a lieutenant and was assigned down at the Maryland State Police Licensing Division, which is quite an arduous task in itself because they're responsible for everything handgun in the state of Maryland, and he oversaw over 110 employees at that assignment as well. So he's got a lot of experience based upon management skills in police work. So I just want to introduce him to everybody. This is Patty. Patty, you want to stand up? This is Patty Lacey. I don't know if anybody has any questions for him or would like to speak to him.
Just welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you for bringing all that experience to our town. We appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, on with the report, because I know Barney's chomping at the bit, because he's already telling me I'm talking too long. I can see it in his eyes.
You have 2 minutes.
To start with, we go over the training. We've had some various trainings with the police department for the month. We've had some supervisor and leadership training from the street cop training that we've partnered with. We hosted the training. The Manor Police Department itself hosted the training with street cop at the Carroll County Public Safety Training Center. It was titled the Airy Tower. It was well attended by members from the Sheriff's Departments, Frederick and Carroll County, Montgomery County Police, and Baltimore County Police, as well as some out-of-state attendees as well from New Jersey. Maryland area, we hosted the Carroll County Municipal Chiefs meeting to discuss trends and matters that impact local law enforcement and operations here in town with all the other town police departments as well. Community outreach. Maryland Police Department was involved in the Patriots Day ceremony and the Oktoberfest this month. Nothing of significance is to report related to those events. We also participated in a drug take-back event at the Manor Senior Center on September 22nd. Approximately 32 pounds of over-the-counter and prescription medication was recovered during that event. And that's just a reminder that we do have the prescription and over-the-counter medication disposal box at the police department. Anybody has anything that they want to get rid of, it's there in the lobby. And Monday through Friday between like 9 and 5, they can stop in and drop it off to us, and we'll gladly take it off their hands. As far as calls for service for the month, we had 556 calls for service. That's a 10% increase from August 2022, which we had 505. It's also a 28% decrease from September of 2021, which we had 769. During the month, traffic enforcement, we had 64 total traffic stops. We issued 37 traffic citations, 64 warnings, had 10 equipment repair orders. There were no DUI arrests for the month, and we also had 4 other traffic arrests. In criminal enforcement, the department made 9 criminal apprehensions. There was a significant event that occurred in town this month, generated a huge amount of media interest. That started in Mount Airy during September, and that was on September 19th. One of our officers, PFC Klezak, was conducting a follow-up of a theft investigation. During the course of his investigation, he developed information on the suspect who was allegedly building an improvised explosive device, and that was more likely than not going to be used in town in one of our neighborhoods. PFC Klezak, out of an abundance of concern, began to investigate and corroborate the information that was provided by the victim complainant in this case. And as a result of that investigation, PFC Klezak reached out to federal authorities, which include the FBI and the ATF, as well as the Howard County Police Department, as we thought the suspect was someplace in the Columbia area of Howard County at a hotel. Subsequent investigation led to the location of the suspect in the Baltimore County area. At that time, the Baltimore County Police Department entered the investigation, and they began the surveillance of the suspect. And that investigation concluded with the issuance of several search warrants and an apprehension for a multitude of charges. 2 different crime scenes were identified. A school and a hotel were both evacuated, and an active improvised explosive device was recovered. and along with a loaded semi-automatic handgun and ammunition and other controlled dangerous substances. So we wanted to make sure that that gets recognized. PFC Klezak went above and beyond anything else he could have done to protect this town, and it probably did avoid a tragedy. So it's a good police work all the way around for all the departments and agencies involved, and it all started with a simple follow-up investigation about a theft. So he took that information and developed it into something, and that's basically the epitome of the snowball rolling downhill, turning into a larger snowball and hitting the village below. So we were able to avoid that with the work that he did. During the month of September, there was 21 Group A offenses. Larceny theft was the predominant Group A offense, that had 15 reported incidents. The second predominant most incidents was fraud with 4 reported incidents, and then there was 1 assault and 1 robbery reported as well. There was 9 Group B offenses, and they remained. For that, there was a 36% decrease in Group A offenses as compared with August, and then Group A offenses, but the Group B offenses remained steady at 9 apiece. And during the month of September, there was no opioid overdoses in town. So that will be the police department's report. Does anybody have any questions?
Chief, the only thing that I wanted to follow up on was when I was asking about the overtime on Main Street.
Yes.
I asked about that 2 months ago, and it was just brought to my attention, it would only be in action for about a month. Do you have any conclusions at this point, or do you need a little bit of, maybe do some follow-up data?
We are currently having a Main Street Task Force meeting on October 13th where that will be discussed. And
okay.
We will be moving forward with the plan, and at that point in time, that's where Officer or Corporal Brooks will be spelling everything out. And then
Okay.
we can get
So
back.
there will be some data
Correct, yes.
shared at that meeting?
We are in the process of getting it all together to start working it. So
Okay.
yeah,
If
we
I-
haven't worked it yet.
If I may, Council President, so there were several components that we had received some extra budget money for. One was some extra patrol time specifically dedicated to Main Street. And so that component, along with other components of an integrated plan, Corporal Brooks has put together kind of as an action plan for Main Street. We have not implemented that overtime patrolling yet.
Okay.
So we're going to have our meeting. Officer Brooks is going to roll out, here's the plan with all the elements, and then we will implement the plan. And then, yes, the idea is to be able to say, do people feel like this is making an improvement?
Okay.
Not an improvement, et cetera. So
All right, sounds good.
So to answer the question, it's forthcoming, yes.
Forthcoming. Sounds great.
Thank you.
Any other comments, concerns? Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, could you just make sure PFC Klezak shows up to our November meeting, and I'll talk to the council.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I got one thing for, I just found out recently, and I don't know if you guys know, and I'm assuming you know, Officer Klezak grew up here, born and raised, local, went to high school with my son. So I just found that out. So it's nice to know that we've recruited and kept people, given them a job opportunity to stay in the town. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Chief Doug, I just want to say thank you for having a presence at Oktoberfest. It helped sort of contain the festival. And with no police presence, who knows what would happen, but seeing you all there makes me a very happy girl, and I don't feel like I have to worry about too much when you all are there, so thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chief, appreciate it. All right, we'll move on to the Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Company report. Bruce Walls? Good evening, sir.
Hello. For the month of September, we had a little more manageable month. EMS calls, we had 101 in Carroll, 43 in Frederick, 5 in Howard, and 5 in Montgomery for 154 EMS calls. Fire calls, we had 14 in Carroll, 8 in Frederick, 3 in Howard, 3 in Montgomery for a total of 28, which resulted in 115 calls for service in Carroll, 51 in Frederick, 8 in Howard, 8 in Montgomery, for a total of 182 calls for the month of September. October is Fire Prevention Month, and so we will be having our Fire Prevention Open House this Friday from 5 to 8 at the fire station. There'll be displays and activities for adults and children. So if you have the opportunity, please stop by. There'll also be refreshments. But of course, you'll all be well fed because you'll stop at the auxiliaries dinner that same night from 4 to 7. Dine in or carry out at the reception hall, and that'll be fried chicken and fried shrimp.
Thank you, Bruce. Appreciate it. And next up, we'll move to our Civil Air Patrol report with Captain Rolfe. Good evening, Captain.
Good evening. This is a Civil Air Patrol report for the month of September 2022. Under mission and significant activities, the squadron represented the entire wing Civil Air Patrol at the Anne County Emergency Preparedness Exposition, which was basically a community event to showcase a number of different emergency response and preparedness resources that are available in the community. I personally have been assigned as the Group Emergency Services Officer, which actually puts me over 10 other units like ours in the Howard County, Montgomery County, and west of us area, which allows us to actually facilitate a little bit more coordination amongst neighboring Civil Air Patrol units in case we do need to have a larger response. As part of our relationship with Glenelg High School, we've held several information sessions for students and faculty and actually sponsored recognitions for both September 11th and the National POW MIA Day at that school. And we have been providing continuing support to the Parkland Cadet Squadron, which is a school-based squadron that is down in a aerospace education magnet school in Montgomery County. So several of our members have actually been helping them get their program up and running a little bit stronger. Under local community support, we provided a color guard at the town's September 11th memorial ceremony, and we also provided support to the Oktoberfest as well. 3 of our members completed the Community Emergency Response Team Basic Course, which brings our total number in the squadron up to 4 personnel that have that qualification. We had 2 members participate in the Wing Search and Rescue exercise, where we also conducted a proof of concept for the new cyber flight that I spoke about last month and how that can actually support cybersecurity of our emergency operations. Nothing to report in flight time. Our membership growth, we actually added 3 new cadets and 1 senior member this past month. A lot of that is actually a result of that Glenelg information session. Our squadron remains fully operational and mission ready. We're also currently on standby, just like every other squadron in the state, to provide assistance to neighboring states in support of any kind of a disaster relief and recovery efforts from the recent hurricanes. On the horizon, our squadron will be in front of the Glenelg High School homecoming parade with our color guard, and we will be participating in a wing level competition and conducting rocketry for our cadets later in the month. Pending your questions, that's my report for the month.
Thank you, Captain. Appreciate it. I don't know if that's a promotion, but that's
Just more work.
just more work. All right.
So, again, thank you. Your volunteers were incredible. They are very focused and dedicated and take their roles very seriously. Huge help to the organization and the event hosts. So thank you. I appreciate it. And that gentleman back there, Dick Swanson, he's the treasurer of the Mount Airy Main Street Association. He'll write your donation check.
Okay.
I don't know if today, but but that's who's responsible
Like one of the big
for
ones?
A big one
appreciate
with lots of zeros.
So we're happy to support the organization, and I would love to have the kids back next year.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I just wanted to say the captain has gotten together with me. They have a copy of our emergency operations plan, and they're going to help me go through that because there's a lot of outdated material on that. So appreciate the future help on that one.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Thank you, Captain. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. We'll move into new business. First up is the road closure on Wednesday, October 26th from 4 to 9 p.m. on Main Street from Prospect Road to Paradise Avenue for the Candy Crawl and Spooky Trail. Council members, you have the information provided to you on this road closure presented to us by Nancy Hernandez. Did anyone have any bearing questions or comments?
A quick comment, just very quickly. And it speaks to the memorandum we got about internal controls. And so certainly when we have an event, depending on who's requesting the event, who's sponsoring the event, It may require roads to be closed, it may require an alcohol permit, et cetera. And we usually see those. I'd just be interested, and I'll do this offline with the mayor and town staff, but I'd like to see the procedures and the protocols and the approval process for when an event is requested and a town piece of real property is used for an event, what kinds of approval processes are there to ensure everything's being done in compliance, it's being done safely, trash removal, other kinds of support needs are addressed and understood and signed off. So it doesn't pertain to this one particularly, but it's more of an umbrella comment, and I'll talk to the mayor and work with staff to learn about those protocols. That's my comment.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
I just got one quick question. I don't have a problem with closing the road, but I just want to make sure that the town does everything in its power to try and redirect the traffic that would be going to the Frederick County side off of Main Street, because this is primarily closed during rush hour. So I just want to make sure that there's not a lot of traffic coming down and then getting diverted onto small little side streets to make it down to Prospect or something else. So I'm not really sure how this can be done, but I just wanted to make sure that we take that into consideration the best we can.
Just making a note to yours, it does say movable barricade, so I'm not sure if that helps. It doesn't look like there's any permanent road closures, but if people need to get home, I think we'll do the best we can.
I can answer any of that. When the road gets closed at Paradise, it's a soft closing, so that residents or, say, employees of the businesses can still enter to Hood Street. And from that point, Frederick County residents, well, I mean, there's lots of options. You can take 144, you can go up Hood Street. Unfortunately, you can go down Hill Street to get to Prospect. So there are other there's other ways to get around. The businesses, they support this.
Oh.
It's a nice event for downtown, and it is a partnership between the town and Mount Airy Main Street Association.
Councilwoman, I'm just saying I'm fine with it. I just want to make sure that we can try and direct most of the people down 144 down to other major roads instead of going down Hill Street.
Right.
That's my main, I mean, I just don't want to overload Hill Street since it's
I agree.
rush hour. I have no problem with the event.
I think a lot of that is alleviated with the signs, the big signs that he'll put out saying it's going to be closed, find another way to get home. And then Frederick County residents will know, don't try to drive down Main Street at this point in time. Go somewhere else, go down 144 to get to Twin Ridge, Summit Ridge,
Right.
Village Gate, go wherever else you need to go besides Main Street. We have plenty of feeder roads around town that they don't need to be driving down there. And kudos to our town staff, because I see them at every event getting yelled at by some driver, and they just smile and, so thank you to our staff. But yeah, I'm assuming, Nancy, you're going to have Brian put up the boards,
Sure.
right?
And then just make sure on your map, it says it's only to Prospect. It doesn't go all the way to the fire department.
I think that's the parade.
Okay.
And we're also going to be putting a banner up on our website too, and
perfect.
making notifications on social media at least 2 weeks in advance.
Yeah, it should be fine. All right. All those in favor of the road closure taking place on Wednesday, October 26th from 4 to 9, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Perfect. All right, next one is another road closure. This is on Saturday, December 3rd, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. with a rain-snow date of Saturday, December 10th. This will also take place on Main Street from Watersville to Paradise, and this is for a Main Street Christmas with other details there. Nancy gave us your packet of information. Any other questions or comments on this one? This one's December 3rd.
Saturday.
Yeah, all right, perfect. All right, all those in favor of this road closure taking place on December 3rd for Main Street Christmas, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. All right, next up is a bond release for the Woodlands at Nottingham. This is Phase 3. This takes place for the lots of 73 to 86, 116 to 125, 130 to 135. John, I think this was just making sure that the rest of that exchange of the agreement was completed.
Yeah, this was the final installation of the boardwalk path.
That's
goes,
correct.
Back to the road that accesses the trail.
And if, council members, if you have not been back there, we have a bridge. It goes over a fake wetland area. And it goes right in front of the wastewater treatment plant to that road there. And it can take us straight back to Backacre, which is awesome. So if you haven't visited yet, Catonsville Homes did a great job on that. So anything else, John?
And this is a complete bond release of that project.
That's fantastic. All right, what's the final amount there?
$306,075.40.
Perfect. All right,
Just one quick question, Council President.
yep, go ahead.
Is this just, I think you mentioned it, is this just related to the completion of the Boardwalk Bridge, or is this like completely finishes out the neighborhood back there?
This is a complete finish of the neighborhood. This is the final component that needed to be completed, and
Okay.
they've done so.
This was the only thing that we had, I say we, because I live in Nottingham, but the HOA had concerns, so we held their bond to make sure that we got our project
Cool.
finished.
I just want to make sure.
So I'll go ahead and make a recommendation for vote to release the bond in $306,075.40. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Next up is the bond release for Pine Grove Manor Lot 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. Is this considered Section 1? Is that what that is?
I think that's it.
Or-
Section 1.
Okay, all right. And this is coming in the amount of $176,000.
So this is actually the actual reduction. The current bond being held is $176,966.41.
Okay,
There's a reduction of the bond of $142,538.31.
Got it.
With a remainder of the $34,458.10 that
Okay.
we'll still be holding. They basically just recapped, put the final code on the paving. The last houses have been built there, so this is just the 10% contingency that we hold until, I guess, for another year, I think is the normal process.
okay. And this is right across from the Pine Grove
That's correct.
Cemetery. All right, I'll make a motion for,
Well, sorry, Mr. Council President. One more thing. I just checked with
Okay.
Barney earlier. I just want to make sure, the public might know this too. When this development started, we did have complaints of excessive stormwater running off in the back of, I was trying to say Warfield or whatever street behind it. And supposedly since other things have been taken care of, that is no longer a problem, which I checked with the town engineer to say we have not received any complaints of excessive amount of water running off that property down to the homes below it. Would that be correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
And a lot of it that was causing it was because all the drains were blocked still in the street. Once they opened those up, then most of that water was able to just drain through the system.
Okay.
you don't want pollution in the sewer.
Right.
Right, all right. All right, so this will be a release of bond for $142,538.31. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next up is a Public Works Agreement. This is for Lot 7. This is for Twin Arch Industrial and also known as the self-storage. Tom, any overly arching concerns?
No, this is fairly basic PWA. The only question may be raised as to the water expansion fund and why it says 0. That is because it was already paid previously. This is phase 2. It was paid in full with what we're calling phase 1. So.
Perfect. And if the lawyer is good, so am I. All right. All right, so this will be for the Public Works Agreement for the Twin Arch Self-Storage, also known as Lot 7. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Perfect. I just spoke before the meeting about
Oh, never mind.
commission appointments and reappointments. We didn't have anything in our packet, and I just talked to the mayor, and he's good for next month. Just double checking. So we'll see reappointments next month, and we apologize for those delays. All right, we'll move into ordinances and resolutions, and first up is our Annex Resolution 2022-45. This is for 8.3360 acres of land, more or less, situated along the northerly and easterly side of Buffalo Road. This is up for adoption of annexation plan and to schedule a public hearing. And so I would just, for this, don't want to confuse adoption versus introduction, and then we can just schedule a public hearing. Is that okay that or do we need to vote to approve and then schedule the public hearing, which seems a little backwards to me?
Well, under the state code, you're supposed to adopt the annexation plan. It used to be called, probably more appropriately, an outline of extension of services, which simply defines for the commenting agencies, that is to say, the state planning and the county planning departments, if you were to annex, how it would proceed in terms of the extension of water, sewer, et cetera. They now call it basically an annexation plan. So by approving the annexation plan, you're not approving the annexation. You're simply approving the document that goes out to comment to the state and county agencies.
Okay.
And the statute, it says that it's supposed to be approved by the town council, legislative body, and then you set your public hearing out for enough time to get back comments from the county and the state, which hopefully all this is gathered for the public hearing.
Sure.
That's the idea.
So if that wasn't confusing, we're not going to approve the plan tonight, but we're going to approve what they're giving us so that we can hold the public hearing and then approve it after the public hearing.
Or vote to approve it.
Something like that.
Okay.
I think what Tom was saying is there's a plan, and then there's the annexation resolution later on.
Exactly.
So you have to approve the plan, set the public hearing, and then somewhere down the road, the resolution.
The resolution gets approved.
Okay.
Sounds great. Or not.
Words,
Sorry.
man.
All right. So I will make a motion for the approval of a plan, not the resolution, of Annexation Resolution 2022-45. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right.
President, before
Yeah,
we vote, I had a question or two about the content of what we're approving here.
Okay.
So the title of this document is Annexation Resolution 2022-45. So this is the document that we're approving tonight?
No.
Okay.
It's this right here.
It's this.
The annexation plan. That's all you're approving
Okay.
tonight, and then you'd simply set a
Goes to
hearing
planning.
on this. Yeah.
Jack, I apologize.
Absolutely.
Let me ask my question, and then maybe it'll all be answered. So my question is, I looked at this, if this is the plan, and what I saw in this was, it looked like just a review of the request for annexation by the town. And so I guess my concern is, and maybe it's not a concern, but let me raise it. If you look at the last page under recommendation, there's a recommendation, and it says, "We recommend the Planning Commission offer a favorable recommendation to the council. Annexation petition with the condition that the petitioner successfully resolve the outstanding areas of concern outlined in this memorandum to the satisfaction of the town planner, which may necessitate the creation of a development plan. I guess my question is, so if you're saying, as the town or the town planner, the planning commission should approve this with conditions, up above, there's a set of bullets with a list of conditions. I don't see those conditions listed in this other document. Will that happen?
Yes, so the way that happens is, they're not in here because I don't know what you're going to approve. I don't want to presume. So what happens typically is that you have the public hearing, and at the public hearing, you gather comments. And you also have the Planning Commission's conditions and the conditions that are set forth in the annexation plan that you will have approved. You typically don't vote on an annexation that night. My experience, typically you put that 30 days out. Why? Because one of the things you're doing in those 30 days is you are generally commissioning me to negotiate the remainder of the annexation agreement. In the annexation agreement, then also in the resolution, will be various conditions, including those that are sitting here, assuming you all agree they should be conditions. You all may have other things based on what you've heard from the public that says, you know what, that's a great idea. That ought to be in the annexation plan. You know, Tom, go ahead, negotiate that into the annexation plan with the applicant. That's how it's supposed to occur. And then after those 30 days, sometimes it's taken 60 days. It comes back finally and it's up. You've got a final resolution with a final annexation. The other side's agreed to it. I'm comfortable with it. And then you're ready to vote. So that's how it's supposed to occur.
Okay. Will this go to the public so they can comment on this during the public hearing?
Yes.
Okay, because I think that's important.
Everything should be in the packets for the public. At the
Okay.
public hearing.
And then the last comment, and again, I may be remiss, but because this was dated August 29th, I went back and I reviewed the tape of the August 29th Planning Commission meeting. And the Planning Commission, I guess, referred this on to us, is that correct?
Yeah, they gave it a favorable
They
recommendation.
gave it a favorable recommendation, but I have to tell you, and maybe I missed it, but I did not see this document discussed at the Planning Commission at all. I did not see it thumbed through. I did not see the planning, our planner sit there and say, here are my conditions, here are my concerns. I saw no discussion of this at all. And then the Planning Commission listened to a couple public comments, took a vote and said, we like it. So that was a little bit odd to me that these weren't discussed at the Planning Commission meeting. So that's a comment. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments? All right. We already had a motion, had a second. All those in favor of scheduling a public hearing signify by saying aye.
Jason?
Oh, sorry.
The motion was to vote on the annexation plan.
Sorry.
Okay.
We'll do the vote. Thank you for keeping me in line. All those in favor of the annexation plan signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Thank you. And then can we schedule our public hearing for the next meeting? That will be on November 7th, and we will do 7 o'clock.
Did you say 7?
7. November 7th at 7. All right, and if we can make, John, do you mind making this new packet available
Yeah, I'll make sure it gets
online,
posted
please?
online.
Yep, thank you very much. Appreciate it, thank you very much. All right. Next up is Ordinance 2022-26. This is to convey town-owned real property in exchange for transfer of real property for the purpose of designing and constructing a roundabout, and this is up for adoption. I will make a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, Councilmember Munder seconds. Council members, with hearing from our speaker this evening with some of the concerns, I would probably like to table this to next month and bring this up at a closed meeting this evening to talk about some of the concerns that the gentleman raised during public comment. So I would like to table this next month and hold a closed meeting tonight.
Tom, are we allowed to do that, set a closed meeting?
Well, it says reasonable notice under the Open Meetings Act. It's not, I don't love doing it, but the Open Meetings Manual will talk about instances where, for the first time, you're presented at a open meeting, the need for a closed meeting, and that what's reasonable depends on the circumstances. And so this one here sounds like it's because of something that was said tonight by probably Mr. Barges.
Yeah,
So I would say that it's probably reasonable notice under the circumstances, but, I would caution not to do this.
that much.
This is the first time I've done it in 2 years, so.
Really exigent or
I don't, no, you're fine.
I don't
I checked with
disagree.
Tom before
Okay.
I did it. I wouldn't have said it if I didn't think
That's what I
was going
thought.
to be in trouble, so.
I just want to make sure.
I would like to make a new motion to table this next month. Is there a second on tabling till next month?
Second.
Thank you. And then we'll schedule we'll have a public hearing afterwards. This is in, I don't know the exact language, but in acquisition of real property and.
Yeah, so well, first of all, I
You have
think
the,
you probably meant a motion to postpone, because as the mayor correctly pointed out last time, if you table, then it's got to come back exactly as it was. I suspect we're discussing because there may be changes to this. So it's probably more correct to make a motion to postpone the vote
Okay.
on this. So
All right, I'll take back my motion to postpone till next month. Who was the second?
Lynn.
Lynn?
I was.
All right. Are you still seconding that?
Did you do the new motion?
Yes.
I'll second it.
Okay, all right. Sorry for the confusion.
But we're still having
I
a closed
apologize.
meeting tonight, right?
We're still going to have a
Okay.
closed meeting tonight.
Okay.
This is a second to postpone. I'm going to just postpone it till next month because we should figure it out by this evening's closed meeting.
The closed meeting basis would be acquisition
Yeah,
of real property.
that's what I thought. All right, thank you very much. I just needed a motion. I didn't need a full vote on that one, right?
You'll do that at the end to go into closed
Yeah,
session.
okay.
Roll call.
All right, perfect. Holly, can you remind me? Thanks. It's not on my agenda.
So the motion to postpone does not have to go to a vote?
Oh, it didn't go to a vote? Yeah, so that.
We did a first and a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so.
That's why I was
Motion
checking.
postpone should go to a vote.
Okay.
Motion to close.
All right, I'll do that later.
Closed section should come at the end.
Okay. All those in favor to postpone until next month signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. We never want to make anything too easy. That's ridiculous. All right, next up is ordinance 2022-27. This is a budget amendment to allocate $2,833,618 of ARPA funds. This is up for adoption. I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any comments, discussions, concerns?
This is for the roundabout, correct? No, we're not up to that one yet, okay.
This is water, sewer, stormwater
Gotcha,
management
okay.
infrastructure
Okay,
projects.
Gotcha.
This is for the water meters? Part of it? You don't have to answer that.
For all the ARPA projects.
Oh,
This is
cool.
the second disbursement that we got, so now we're allocating it to the projects.
Awesome. Any other comments? All right. All those for approval of the budget amendment for $2,833,618 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, next is ordinance 2022-28. This is a budget amendment to add $460,000 for Rails to Trails east of Maine. I will introduce. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Munder seconds. Any discussion?
Where do we stand on that, Barney? Time-wise for completion and stuff?
2024.
2024 now? Okay.
I think we'll be done by the end of this
He
year.
guaranteed Thanksgiving, didn't he?
Oh, okay.
Guarantee is a strong word. But yeah, it should be by Thanksgiving.
I'm just asking because, it's in the lid, really?
I thought he was messing with you. That's awesome.
It was supposed to be sooner.
I know.
Oh.
I'm trying to look at the, it's pink, okay? I'm trying to look at the bright side of things. We see a completion date.
Okay.
My shovel doesn't go in the ground in April. We're gonna have another conversation.
Holly?
Your motion was to introduce, but it was introduced last month. This is for
Adoption.
adoption.
All right.
Fix it, resecond.
No, well, we needed to discuss it.
Go ahead.
All right, anyways, it's discussed. Get the trail done in 2024. All right, all those in favor of,
But,
Hold on.
Anybody second that?
Yeah, I did.
yes,
Oh, I didn't.
I did.
Carl did.
I'm very sorry.
that's okay.
Oh, no problem. So we good?
Now we're good, right?
Okay, all right.
I know what I'm doing. All right, all those in favor of ordinance 2022-28 to get the project done before Thanksgiving, no, just kidding. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Just kidding about the Thanksgiving thing. All right. Next up is ordinance 2022-30. This is a budget amendment to add $2 million for the Mount Airy Police Department new station. This is for introduction. Would anyone like to introduce?
I'll make a motion to introduce.
All right, Councilwoman Reed introduces. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Councilwoman Galetti seconds. We'll see this next month.
May I make a comment on that?
Absolutely, sir.
If y'all would be so kind as to talk to David or myself about this ordinance so we can figure out exactly where the $2 million is coming from. Thanks.
All right. Next up is ordinance 2022-31. This is a text amendment for indoor shooting range in the industrial district. This is for introduction and to refer to planning. I will introduce. Is there a second? Is there a second? All right, not seeing none. We're done with this. Next up is ordinance 2022-32. This is a mixed-use community commercial zone. This is for introduction and also refer to planning. I will introduce. Is there a second on this?
I'll second.
Councilmember Munder seconds. This will go off to planning and we'll see this at some point. Thank you. All right. We're going to move to unfinished business. And we'll begin with the Flatiron Task Force report from a member of the task force. And I see Larry is coming up. Good evening, sir.
Great. Council President, members, Mayor, thank you for the opportunity to provide this month's status report. I know a written copy has been given to our liaison Lingaletti, and I'm assuming that everybody has a written copy, so with
It
that.
will be forwarded.
Well, to that end, I just don't need necessarily to get into every detail here, other than just cover some.
Brief
some
overview is
points.
fine,
Yeah,
sure.
briefly go through. So again, the task force committee was established on August 11th, and we really have two primary immediate goals, which are to facilitate the conduct of an independent, professional, unbiased structural engineering assessment to determine the building's safety and structural integrity, and also to conduct an appropriate fundraising campaign to help fund that. To date, the task force has had 3 meetings held on August 11th, August 25th, and most recently on September 29th. We're currently composed of 29 participants, broken down into 6 subcommittees, and many of those subcommittees have met and are meeting and are underway on various projects like fundraising and a variety of design, engineering, and streetscape concepts. I attached to the status report one of the recent engineering reports as well, so that should be forthcoming as well. Noteworthy accomplishments to date include fundraising efforts, which have raised $10,579 to date, and that includes a variety of various fundraising projects. The engineering subcommittee prepared a report based on their evaluation of the building in an effort to identify items to address and review with professionals in the event that the project does move forward. And the Arts and Streetscape subcommittees have met several times and presented at our last meeting a PowerPoint presentation regarding the exterior streetscape and some patio concepts and lighting designs. Although I was out of town last month, I did review the September 12th Town Council meeting, as well as various members of the committee. And tonight I just want to make a couple clarification points in no particular order, but I do want to assure the Town Council that communication is important. I want to be open and transparent and be available to the council for questions as we move forward. And I know it's difficult within a 30-day window to come back and address certain things, but I just want to make the following points. With regard to grants, the council members are correct in assuming that grants are not forthcoming for this particular phase of the campaign. The building has been condemned by the town. We have a window of opportunity to obtain the engineering assessment, and grants aren't necessarily forthcoming, particularly limited grants from a variety of agencies for building in this condition. I mean, the condition meaning having been voted to be torn down. At a various stage, we're going to, at this stage, we're doing private fundraising and other efforts so we could contribute to the engineering assessment. But it is envisioned, of course, that in the event that the town provides a green light and we move forward, then the real work can begin towards other campaigns to secure grants. In saving the building, per the discussion last month, the committee joins the mayor's enthusiasm and invites the town council to embrace this preservation of the building. We think the long-term objective of the task force is to save the building and facilitate the design, construction, and funding in its preservation. And we recognize that that objective is contingent upon approval of the town council, which in part is dependent on this objective engineering assessment. So we stand forward with the town council. We invite you to embrace this project, as a number of citizens in town do, for the centerpiece of Main Street that we envision it to be. One point I did want to make to the town to, I guess, satisfy a variety of other discussions above and beyond what occurred at the last town meeting, but I just wanted to reassure the town council that there is a clear plan in place for the use of this building. And that plan was set forth in the restoration concept and funding strategy, which I presented before the town in May earlier the year. That report set forth a vision plan for each floor of the building and the surrounding streetscape. The building's not that big. Each floor is only 750 square feet. We're not going to put in a swimming pool or a bowling alley. We just had clear vision and concept designs for each phase. The lower floor is envisioned to be a pedestrian walkway. The top floor is envisioned to be secure town storage. It is a town piece of property, storage is needed, and the main floor is envisioned as an open floor plan to meet a variety of needs for various organizations. So until approval is granted by the town and the serious work can begin with professional architects and engineers, at this point, the committee could only conceptualize various model ideas, design concepts, architectural concepts, and styles on how what the building would look like and uses for each level. We recognize, too, in the last presentation on September 12th, before the status report, that a misstatement was made in error referring to the restoration of the building as a community center, which may have caused some confusion before the council. But that statement was really intended to reference the adjoining community plaza, which we've referenced as a community plaza many times. And it must be said that based on some of the comments at the last meeting, the use of the building, we just want to state that there's no hazy statements about the Flatiron staying the way it is, or hollowing out the whole building, hanging artwork on the walls, or use as a community center. None of those are the plan for the building or had been proposed either prior to or yet by the committee. We do appreciate the council members' comments and notes that such a open floor plan concept, which has been presented, in fact, could be with the adjoining community plaza, could be a place for town events, an art museum, and all things to all people. That is the design. That is the objective, to make it accessible and available for a variety of town organizations and individuals who have needs space and a centerpiece for the town. With regard to the structural assessment, the town, the committee concurs with the town council that we want this engineering report to be the last word on the structural safety and integrity of the building. We stand by that objective. Now, although the committee is paying for it, we did not contribute to the statement of work, and we haven't yet seen the statement of work, but from the notes and viewing the committee meeting, we feel satisfied based on the town engineer's assessment and the council members' review of the SOW that statement of work and the engineer selected to do the job will meet these objectives of determining the safety and stability of the building. And then finally, with regard to fundraising, the committee has agreed to, and we're working towards fundraising. Now, the Historical Society has established a Flatiron account to record all of our contributions towards the cause, or all the contributions towards the cause. And to date, all donations and fundraising for the Flatiron are earmarked towards the payment of the engineering report, which is of primary importance. And later, in the event that the council decides to save the building, it's anticipated that fundraising efforts will certainly continue and will help pay to offset costs moving forward. And while the committee will report, I'll report on a monthly basis the amount of fundraising efforts each month, certainly those fundraisers are consist of contributions by various donors and nonprofit organizations, including the Historical Society, the Manor Arts Alliance, and other organizations, which are not required or necessarily inclined to open up their individual accounting books for town council examination. So I think it's sufficient that we provide on a monthly basis just the total fundraising efforts to date. Accordingly, that's the objective of the task force is to continue these efforts. We see value, commercial and intrinsic value in the preservation of this building. And again, we thank the council for their time. Our next meeting currently is scheduled for October 25th, and we look forward to providing our next update at that time.
Larry, just a quick comment. You stated tonight that your fundraising efforts have now surpassed $10,000.
Correct.
The last time that Mike presented, it was about $3,000, I believe. Does that include, I saw a check being presented tonight by the
Right.
Historical Society. Does that amount include the generous donation from the?
It does.
It does. All
Right.
perfect.
So each month, my intent is to include private donations, nonprofit donations, fundraising, ghost tours, individual donations in total. So
Okay,
hopefully
so
each month-
minus that large donation, there was an additional $2,000, $3,000.
Total $5,500.
Yeah.
Right.
In addition to that private, thank you very much. Go ahead, Councilman.
A couple questions. Thank you for the update. So I just want to confirm, because I think what was documented at the few council meetings ago was the agreement was that no town resources would be used to fund the structural assessment. So that is your plan, that you will be paying for the full amount for the structural assessment?
That's our understanding and objective. I mean, whatever magic between the town council and the mayor regarding the negotiation of any funding, the task force would stand behind. At this point, we have one primary objective. That was why we were established, and that's why we're working hard for fundraising.
Okay, very good. Another question. So, and I went back and looked at your plan again, and I heard you tonight say you have a plan, and you've established your plan for the building is, you know, these 3 floors. And so I guess part of what we need to decide as a council, and all of the citizens need to think about is, okay, this is a project that could cost, I mean, who knows? It could cost $800,000, $1 million, it could cost $2 million for the total project. Per the Preservation Maryland's director, he made the comments at a meeting that they had a grant program for up to $10,000 to explore how a building could be used, and they were asking for a 10% in-kind match for that. And then he spoke about, he said that larger grants, like for capital improvements, like at the $100,000 to $200,000 range, they're usually very difficult to get, and they require a match. So let's assume grants that might be obtained are going to require a 50% match. Let's just make that assumption. I'll make that assumption. So the town needs to think about if, and the citizens, if we want to use taxpayer dollars to spend anywhere from $800,000 to potentially $1 million to match grants that might go towards the total refurbishment of that building. So that's a comment. And here's another question that we need to think about, and the citizens need to think about. So the ground floor is going to be a pedestrian walkway. So that's necessitated, I guess, by the lack of a usable sidewalk. So that takes the ground floor out of the picture. It's a walkway. Granted, you can put some artwork up and things, but that's a walkway. The second floor is usable space for events, hanging artwork, whatever, but that's your usable space. That's 750 square foot. Your top floor, you're saying you're going to use for storage. And I guess when I hear that, I have to ask myself, are we restoring this building and spending the money on this building, and a third of it we're going to use just to store things for the town? That to me doesn't seem like a best use for that third floor. I mean, if I were the town and I had documents to store, I'd go out to CubeSmart or somewhere, and for $200 a month, I'd store my documents or whatever. So my point is, you know, this has to appeal to the elected officials and all the citizens of Mount Airy. I understand the Historical Society is very passionate, the task force is passionate, but the town is made up of a lot of people, and they may or may not support any restoration of that building. And so if this project does move forward, I can see people saying, well, what's in it for me? I didn't want this. You have to provide something that is going to be appealing to them. And I'm not sure that third floor is going to cut it. And then just the global reference point that we have had town surveys, we have had vision plans where through those formal town surveys and studies, the large majority of the citizens have not supported restoration of that building. I have a question for Barney about the structural assessment. And I think you confirmed it, but I just want to hear you confirm it at the meeting. So I read through the contractor's work scope, and I didn't see anything in here about them providing cost estimates. I mean, there is a statement that says they'll identify and provide preliminary recommendations for how to repair any defects, safety hazards, improvements to make the building more structurally sound. It doesn't say cost. So can you confirm they are going to give cost estimates? I didn't see cost anywhere in the work scope. And again, maybe I missed it. I probably did.
Yeah,
I think it would be.
it's in there, but
I think it would be hard, right? So like they're doing a structural assessment. They're not necessarily the contractors. They don't know how much materials cost and those types of things. You would have to then bid that out and say, hey, these are the things that we need fixed. Only then would you be able to find out the cost for the scope of work.
Yeah, so that's why I was asking, because in informal conversations with Barney, he mentioned, and I think at the task force meeting, he mentioned they're going to give costs also. I just wanted to know.
if you look at the fee, lump sum fee is as follows. If you look at the fifth item, it's engineer's cost estimate, structural only, for $2,000. So that's their fee to develop the cost estimate. Again, it's only of the structural items, not cost estimate of the renovation. So if they say you need to repair the east wall, and you need to do it in this method, they're gonna give you an estimate of what's it gonna cost to repair
Okay.
the wall. So that is included under the fees.
Okay.
But we have to, but we have to choose that option, correct? For the.
It's already been,
included.
it's in the
Okay.
bid package.
Okay, it's included already. Okay, thank you.
Council President, could I chime in?
Please.
It might be my only opportunity. A couple things I just want to make clear. In my opinion, and I think the opinion of the task force committee, this engineering report should really meet just a single primary objective, which is to determine those 3 points that we wanted to address. Is the building in an immediate risk of collapse? Is it structurally sound for its intended use? And third, is the pedestrian throughway a plausible option? I think any other address towards future renovation costs or actually doing the building would be premature and unnecessary. Because once, if I could just move forward, once in the event that the town gives a green light towards this project, then the real work starts. Then Preservation Maryland and other partners participate in grants to hire architectural and preservation firms and structural engineering firms to do blueprint designs and charrettes of the building as it could and should be. This is not that report. This is not that report. We're light years away from that report. This report should determine whether this building is survivable. It was my understanding, and I think the council's understanding, that that was the purpose of the report.
I think on that bid package, there's the very top paragraph where it talks about specifically what that report is supposed to give us.
That's
I
my
think
understanding too, yeah.
That's mine as well.
So-
And that satisfied some
Right.
of my concerns.
So I just like to, take in 2 steps forward. In the event that the town provides the green light and we move forward with the project, then we've established this groundwork with our allies at state and federal level, Preservation Maryland, a variety of grant programs, all of which are contributory matching grants, reimbursable grants, in addition to private fundraising and donation. But that would really start and kick off with really the selection of a primary general contractor or primary preservation architect or engineer who would map out, who would basically take all these concepts and designs that we've been working on, that were presented in May, that would take in the council members' concerns about safety or various risks, and restructure a long-term plan towards achieving that building. I would like to say with regard to the costs, that in the past years, the options presented to the town by the town engineer and others have really suggested between $900,000 and $3 million in town taxpayer money to remedy that property in a variety of ways, primarily just to tear it down and leave it as an open park.
I think the highest going up to 5 million, at least for the
Even-
large structure.
Even more, I
and
was
everything else.
thinking of the
So,
2021 report.
Yeah, I mean.
And
it's-
those are
it's
town
varied
taxpayer
by-
dollars.
It's varied.
So there is an argument to be made for preservation, which is a consistent argument that towns and preservationists make all along the line, is the building exists as is, we have a variety of partners and funding available, and we want to step up to the plate, and all we're waiting for is the flag to be dropped. And at a minimum, I mean, even if it costs $2 to $3 million for whatever magic we want to do to the building, at a 50% match, that'd be $1.5 million. And a good bit of that could be through donations and fundraisers in addition to town taxpayer monies that would have used that money to tear the building down anyway. So I just wanted to make those points.
Yeah, no, thank you. And, in the 2 to 3 months that the task force has been formed and the amount of donations, I don't think any one of us would be up here saying, okay, like, you guys are here trying to do an effort, and, I'll be the first to congratulate you on the amount of donations that you've gotten so far. So just like you had said, we're looking at the structural analysis report. I'll take whatever it is. You said that you would take whatever it is, and we'll see what that says. So I appreciate everything that the group has done moving forward. I still have my opinion, but at this point, I appreciate everything that the task force has done. All the volunteers. I know that you guys are here, and I appreciate it. So thank you.
Great.
Council member, last comment, really quick, please.
Just a question. So I'm trying to understand, and again, maybe I'm missing something, but I think part of the task was to go out and try and actually identify a handful of grant organizations that could support a structural assessment, the type of work that's needed right now. So I don't, yes, the council took a vote that we did not want to keep the building. That, to me, does not prevent you. I was surprised I didn't hear a report back from the task force that said, we looked at the suite of grants available, and you had a laundry list in your plan. What specific grants from what organizations would be best targeted to fund the structural assessment, and why hasn't any contact been made? To me, there's no reason why you couldn't do that, even with the council vote the way it is. There's nothing that's precluding you from doing that.
It's been done. It's been done, and that laundry list of grants and how they're specifically targeted are included in the May report that was provided.
Okay.
And we have reached out to many of those organizations at the state level, and I think one of the private levels as well. And with regard to Preservation Maryland, they do provide a $10,000 grant for assessments, not of this kind, but of the kind that we would kick off in the event that we get a green light. That type of grant would go towards hiring a preservation architect to come in and help conceptualize and meet with the council and the members of the task force to move forward. That's the purpose of that grant.
So
Now, when the task force, the task force, I do believe you're under a misapprehension, because my understanding was the task force was not to go out and find grants, but go to find engineers that could provide this type of assessment. But as has already been addressed, I think at the last meeting or the meeting before, I think the town, expedited the RFP and got that out, and I think we were able to provide the town engineer with one or two possible preservation engineers.
Yeah, maybe there's some miscommunication, because I thought part of the task was, I think Council President said he thinks there could be grants out there, and you go pursue grants, and if you needed forward funding, the town would forward fund the assessment, and then through these grants that you get, you would reimburse the town.
Yeah, I'd refer you back to the May report. We spent substantial time on that. And in that report, with the listing of grants, it provides some detail about exactly what they could do for this particular project, for widening sidewalks, providing the community project, and the type of matching that they typically require.
But nothing about the structural assessment.
I think one or two might be in there about not this type of structural assessment, but the assessment that's typically done when these projects kick off.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have one comment. So just to make it clear, at the May presentation, I don't know if council members realize, if you go back and look at your packet, you gave that comprehensive presentation on the plan, and then you had a whole nother packet on the financial plan that did lay out in detail the grants for every stage,
Right.
every step and every stage. So that was attached to our packet.
It was one report, I'm sorry. It was one
Yeah, it was-
report.
but
It
it
was
was
just a different section in the report.
Right, it was a comprehensive plan on the grants at every step of the way.
Yep.
Correct?
Exactly.
So that was, if you go back and look at your packet, it's part of that whole packet. You just didn't present all that night. But there was a huge financial plan of every step of the way in fundraising and grants, which was impressive, by the way, thank you. Because it laid out all the grants you guys had already looked into, and I'm sure you've probably found out more since then. So I just want to point out, it's in our May packet.
Right.
Thank you.
Just,
I was trying to let you go.
well, he can go. I'm not going to be talking to him. So, no, thanks for all the work that you've done, Larry. What I did want to bring up was that even though you're throwing out potential numbers of the restoration, the bottom line is taking the building down, demolishing it, and building a plaza and stabilizing the area has a cost too. There's no grants for that. There's no grants for taking it down. But there is grants for renovating the building, potentially, and getting something done along those lines. I would also tell you at the MML meeting, I ended up talking to Mayor Roop and also Mayor Link from Sykesville and New Windsor. And we talked about ways that they went about renovating buildings, and they talked about a specific grant that has helped both of them. It's called the Strategic Demolition Grant. I should caveat that and say it definitely helped Mayor Roop. I think Mayor Link has a building in Sykesville that they're trying to figure out how to get renovated as well. So those connections are being made, as well as the fact that we had Delegate Boucher here, to be Delegate Boucher. And we got a lot of support, I believe, toward the renovation of the building. But there is not support for the demolishing of the building in terms of financial. I also want to let you know that we do have a draft. It's either going to be an ordinance or a resolution that eventually, when the assessment comes in, that we would be able to hopefully get 3, 4, hopefully 5 council members to agree to the renovation, turn on the green light, and off we go. So thank you.
Quick, I'm sorry.
Just real quick. So Larry, I want to just thank you all, your group of volunteers. When you're dedicated and you hit the street running, I mean, you can see the passion behind you guys. I'm not hiding my opinion of the building. I voted to take it down, but you all are doing a great job. And I just want to say one thing to Mayor. There are grants for everything. So yeah, there is a cost of demolishing it, but there are also grants out there to build an open space. So we're not, there isn't just grants to restore it. There are grants to build an open park space.
And just a follow-up comment. That was going to echo that is I talked with senior town staff, and they told me that there were indeed grants for demolition. And per Councilmember Reed's comments, there's program open space. There are all kinds of grant organizations for, funding a plaza, funding open space, et cetera. So same kind of grant opportunities for the other options. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I stand corrected, and you guys can seek those grants.
Thank you.
Great, thanks.
All right, thank you, Larry, appreciate it. All right, next up is to schedule our next charter amendment workshops. This is for 2021-4, related to the Code of Conduct. I would also like to tag along with 2021-5, which is the whistleblower. I myself, and I've already spoke to the mayor offline that these are pretty much pretty in line. I don't think this would be too long. I would like to tag team them together if possible. We just need to schedule a date. Mayor, I didn't want to put words in your mouth, but that's what I thought we talked about. So.
I'll just throw something out there for
Sure.
everybody. I am unavailable the week of the 23rd, except for that Friday, the 28th.
25th.
The 28th is a Friday. Hey, I can be there Friday. I just can't be there before, any date before that.
Do you have any dates that don't work for you?
I really need to go, I need to go after the 16th. Actually, after the 18th.
Is the 18th not possible?
That's the day I'm coming home, so 19, dang it, flying then too. I got the whole week of the 25th.
Oh, that sounds good.
24, 25, 26, 27, 28. I'm on vacation.
I mean-
There's nothing better to do than come in here.
Between now, I'm not trying to get into your personal schedule, but between now and the 12th, are you not available?
We have MML next Monday and Tuesday, 10th and 11th, so we won't be here.
Yeah. Then I come back and my problem is I got training this month, so I got to get ready for that.
I mean, if they're easy,
I was going to say, can you take a look at them and send any notes or concerns? And if we do it on the, let's just say we do it on the 18th, I mean, I'm not saying, I'm available on the 18th, I can make that work.
Okay. The 18th is probably the safest date because I should be able to get out of Dallas in the morning and get back up here, so.
Okay. Is everyone else okay on the 18th? Tom, you're okay too? Awesome. All right.
6 o'clock time.
6 o'clock.
That's beautification again, but maybe we'll
But
be
they can
done.
meet upstairs.
Well, if we're done, I can zip up there since I keep missing.
What time's your meeting?
7. Beautification, 7. They can go
Do we,
upstairs.
okay.
That's fine.
I think they should be relatively quick. That was stupid.
You just cursed us. Thanks, Jason.
This meeting's been going so well, I wanted to keep going. All right, so we'll do 6 o'clock on the 18th. Come with notes and be ready to compromise. 2021-4, we'll put 21-5 so we don't get in trouble if we get to it. If not, we can always push back 21-5. We can do this. All right. Next up, Mayor's report. Go for it.
All right. Had a busy September, but we've only had to go a few weeks of it. Of course, we're still mourning the loss of Denny Ahalt. I wanted to let you know there will be a celebration of life ceremony on October 16th at 2 p.m. That's after making strides over in Watkins Park, and the public is welcome to attend that. The community garden project, were you going to brief that? If you are,
You can, since you just brought it up.
Okay, the growing season has ended, and as of October, they'll go ahead and close it for the off-season, but had a great first season. Lots of people donated to that, and lots of participation, so I would call it a pretty successful effort. Already talked about Rails to Trails. Coming along, the Mount Airy Senior Task Support Group, several members out there. So they've been doing a great job. Bill Butts came to the last MML meeting with me because they were talking about age-friendly communities. And we sat through, the good news is Carroll County is actually trying to pursue this through all the towns, so we're kind of ahead of the pack. So it was good to be there. I appreciate Bill being there, and I invited him back to the next MML meeting, which also might be a Christmas party. So anyway, our short-term goal of providing transportation to the farmers market from the senior center went very well throughout the entire farmers market season. So congratulations to Mast on taking care of that. The Historical Society is planning to host walking and bus tours in October featuring horrific stories throughout the downtown district. The event will be called Murder, Mayhem, and Mystery. There's going to be a bus tour on October 27th, and then the walking tours will be from various dates from October 14th to October 30th. And if you want to get tickets to those, you go to the Historical Society of Mount Airy.com. Also, the caboose is going to be decorated for Halloween and available for walkthroughs on October 21st and 22nd. And if people want to donate to that, they can donate. And all the proceeds for these events will go toward the Flatiron Building. The town is hosting a spooky trail on October 26th from 5 to 8 p.m. in the rail yard. Normally, this is the one that goes down Rails to Trails. However, this year, they're just going to set up all kinds of activities in the rail yard. So bring your children, and they'll be closing the main street. You can walk the streets and look for candy. So it should be a lot of fun. History 101 is occurring this week. Tomorrow night, it'll be at the fire station, Wednesday and Thursday at the library, and then they rescheduled tonight's to October 17th at the Pine Grove Chapel. And then the topics that will be discussed are the Mount Airy Theater, Civil War medicine, the Battle of the Monocacy, and the Underground Railroad. Congratulations to the Rotary Club and the Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Company on a very successful duck race. I know they made thousands of dollars, and I congratulate them on that. Let's see, Flatiron Task Force meeting, we had that on September 29th. Next meeting will be October 25th, as was said, and I reviewed the council policies 3 and 6 concerning attendance and participation during the COVID-19 emergency, and I would just ask the council to review those policies because there is no longer a COVID emergency. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sure.
Can I ask a question on that last thing about we had gotten policies in our mailbox. Is that what this is in reference to? Because this was prior to our time on council, so these were the policies.
Yeah,
Can you just review that?
policy, these were set, one of them was signed by Council President Poirier. I believe you signed the one for when we were in the COVID emergency. Yeah, I got it here. So that's number 6.
We're going to put a packet together so that everyone can get up to date on all of the policies, and we can review stringently a little bit better than trying to piecemeal everything together.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, next up is Councilwoman Reed's report for Recreation and Parks.
Yep, Recreation and Parks Board met on Thursday, September 15th. Guest speaker Kyle Hastings with Boy Scout Troop 460 presented his Eagle Scout project to the board. He is looking to install a bike rack in the downtown area. Several locations were suggested, including the bank building. We put Kyle in contact with Rob Scranton, who is willing to donate the space to him. so I'll keep you posted on that. The Twin Arch Crossing fencing is complete at the soccer fields. The fence was installed to protect the homes from stray balls. The board is actually working to get back to in-person meetings. Chair Mike Regal has been working with town staff to ensure that the meetings are recorded so that we can keep our online visibility. Chairman Regal also provided field usage updates. There were quite a few changes. Anyone interested in understanding or knowing where the field allocations are for which organization should contact Nancy in Town Hall. She reserves those allocations and works very closely with the ball organizations. The pickleball courts over at Prospect are getting solar lights, and pickleball lessons will begin there in the spring. On September 24th was Mount Airy Oktoberfest. Overall, I would say it was our most successful year. The attendance was incredible. We were way more organized. We had more volunteers. I think our fundraising was lower this year, but that's because our costs were higher. So Scott and we need to address that moving into next year so that we can get those costs back down. But as everyone knows, costs everywhere have gone up. But we need to kind of get that under control so we can ensure that we're making the most money we can for the nonprofits that we host the event for. Next meeting is Thursday, November 17th, and that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Next up will be Councilmember Munder, EDC and Planning.
All right, EDC meeting was held on Wednesday, 9/28. Unfortunately, there was no quorum present, so nothing was really discussed. No business or votes were taken. We did discuss just some general things amongst us. Next meeting will be Wednesday, 10/26 in Town Hall. Now, let me go to the Planning Commission. Planning Commission was held Monday, September 26th at 7 p.m. in Town Hall. I'll try and make it as brief as possible. A lot of things were discussed and or approved on. We discussed, there was an Arby's proposal here in town to change signage and update the exterior. That was given the go-ahead. We discussed the Shiny Shell Car Wash, the concept and final site development plan. This is going to go located at the old Capital One building. That was passed. Also, it was the Twin Arch Industrial Subdivision, which is AKA the Phase 2, Lot 7A, which is a Mount Airy storage over there. The site plan was approved on that also. The text amendment 2022-29, which would add residential component to industrial zone, we will be seeing that back. That was approved. We discussed the other remaining ordinances that were before the Planning Commission, 2022-25, -12, -21, and -22. They were either approved, they were given yay and nay recommendations, and we will be seeing them again back on our schedule, probably for the November meeting. There will be a master plan workshop session this Thursday, October 6th, at 6 p.m. down here in Town Hall. That is related to the comprehensive master plan update. We will hopefully be finishing up Chapter 3, and if time allows, we will be beginning Chapter 4 if possible. The next meeting for the Planning Commission will be October 24th at 7 p.m. That was changed from October 31st due to the fact that October 31st is Halloween. So that concludes my reports.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Next up will be Councilman Demoter with Recycling Sanitation, Mount Airy Street Safety Task Force.
All right, thank you. Recycle and Sanitation Commission, we held a meeting on September 21st. The highlights from that meeting, the commission held elections. Mr. Tom Neff and Ms. Peggy Fleming will retain their positions as commission chair and secretary respectively. I think that's a reflection of jobs well done in their reelection. Drug Take Back Day will be held on October 29th. Again, we'll be doing this in conjunction with the Mount Airy Police Department, and planning is underway for that. Downtown Trash and Recycle Center. We discussed at the commission meeting plans for improvements to the center, which would include fencing, signage, and addressing issues of overuse and misuse of the town recycle center. So there's about $15,000 in the budget, which is approved to support that. And Mr. Mayor, we will be scheduling a meeting to come and talk to you about how to implement that and get that going. I did want to bring up, the commission members will remind me of this if I do not. So a couple things. And this kind of gets to internal controls, the topic of internal controls, procedures, plans, approval processes. With every major event the town has, there are typically issues with overusage of the town recycle center, excess trash, that kind of thing. So my commission members wanted me to highlight that, and I think what we need to do is review the forms and approval processes, and the commission members tell me that, shall I continue? Here we go. Commission members tell me that before my time, there was an agreement that for major events, separate trash receptacles will be provided, that type of thing. So I don't know what the history is. This is an issue that seems to come up a lot, and we just need to look at our processes and make improvements and move forward. They also wanted me to remind citizens that in terms of recycling, not to put plastic bags in your recycle bins, nor should you be putting food in your recycle bin. So, you get carry out, you get a pizza, your pizza box has pizza scraps in it that really shouldn't be going in the recycle bin. Next yard waste dates are October 8th and October 22nd, and our next meeting will be held on November 9th. Main Street Safety Task Force, planning is underway for our next meeting. We anticipate having a meeting sometime in October, hopefully mid-October. We will continue to follow up on our plan for how we're going to use the excess, the additional patrol time for Main Street, and some other educational campaign items we want to get started. We are continuing to network and follow up with our state MDOT representatives on issues and actions that we covered at our August 2nd meeting with them to keep that partnership going. And we are following up on new Main Street speeding concerns that were brought forth by our citizens on both North and South Main. And I've shared those with Chief Reitz, and we'll be working with Officer Brooks on those. Last quick thing, I'm going to be working on concepts for a sidewalk safety grant program. This is something I had thought about after I first became elected, and I was looking at safety needs, safety infrastructure needs as raised by the citizens. I had some early conversations with town staff. I didn't bring it into the budget process for the last year, but it's something I want to pursue. I'll be looking at state and other grant programs, and then opportunities for creating our own grant programs, where maybe we can do something where we do a 70-30 cost share, where we go out and work with citizens to repair sidewalks. Some of the sidewalks in front of residents on Main Street are barely walkable. I mean, they're crumbling. And I think about Wildwood. There's a lot of crumbling sidewalks there for our senior citizens with walkers and canes and such. So I understand the whole story that, sidewalks are supposed to be maintained by residents, but we give grants to businesses for things, and we give lots of grants to people for different purposes. It seems like we should be able to do something for the citizens in terms of the safety of sidewalks. And that's my report.
Thank you. Next up is Councilmember Galletti with Streets and Roads Beautification and Flatiron.
Awesome. Did you say, I was taking notes, is there a meeting scheduled for the Main Street Task Force?
No.
It's not scheduled, the 13th?
No, middle of October.
Which is like next week. So did you say
We
there
didn't
is?
give a date.
Okay, I had written down earlier October 13th. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, I think Chairman Neff is looking at dates, and that may be a date or their date. I have to check.
So we'll find
I know it
out
was
somehow
in-
the public will know.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so mine's quick, beautification, they met on 9/20. I did not get an update from that commission. We were here doing a charter workshop and they met upstairs, so I have no update. And their next meeting is, we just scheduled a meeting during it, sorry. They're the third Tuesday of every month, October 18th, 7 o'clock. And they're still on Facebook, you can follow all the work they're doing because they're still going nonstop. Flatiron, the next meeting is October 25th, 7 o'clock Town Hall. And you got a pretty comprehensive update on that. I don't have anything new to add to Flatiron. Streets and Roads met 9/27. I have to say thank you to John Breeding. He came in and worked overtime so we could be on Facebook Live. We were trying to get back to Town Hall to let the public have an opportunity to come and meet us in person. However, we had 2 citizens at our meeting, and I'm going to be thanking them in a minute. So we addressed citizen complaints. As always, we are back online now with getting the reports for our, for the updates to our 3 phases of redoing all the traffic studies in town. So there was an issue with the computer down at Public Works, just so you guys know. We didn't get reports for about 2 or 3 months, and I found out the computer they had was so old, they couldn't pull up the reports. So I think staff has taken care of that. So we should have reports rolling in. And then there were some that had to do specifically with Main Street, north and south. So I want to thank Councilman Demoter. He was one of our citizens here that night, so we passed those right on to him for the Main Street Task Force to handle, for them to handle. And we discussed the Shiny Shell Car Wash information. I have to say thank you to Councilman Munder because the night before it was discussed at Planning and Zoning, and I believe he's the one that, and he was our second citizen at our meeting. I think you're the one who brought up that streets and roads need to get eyes on it, and we do. We need to get eyes on these things ahead of time. So I have to say thank you to both of them for attending and adding to our discussions because we had items that crossed over, which I think makes a more efficient flow of information, especially for the citizens. So thank you, guys. And the car seat safety, we had one on 9/14. We got our update on that. There were some cars. I have to say thank you to the police department. We had Officer Brooks and I think several officers there. And wow, thank you to Sherry Cates, who works with Lucy Regal and getting all this set up. And now there's something coming up they're working on for next year. I know they've met with the chief. Hopefully they're going to meet with the fire company it's a thing called teen education, teen safety. And it's got all kinds of aspects to it. It looks like it could be a really big event sometime in the spring. So watch for that coming up. And our next meeting is November 29th, and we are going to be virtual since we still want to have that virtual component, but we all feel we don't want to have a staff here at 7 in the morning and at our meetings at 7 at night. So we're going to go back to virtual like Parks and Recs, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. All right, next up will be Water and Sewer and Sustainability Commission. That is myself. I gave the last water report this month. Chairman canceled the meeting. There's no action items coming up, so we canceled our meeting for this month. And the Mount Airy Sustainability Commission will meet next month. I did want to make a quick note and congratulations to Ashley Collier, who secured a $22,000 grant from POS on the Frederick side. So the 3 of us joined MML on Frederick, at which they did some negotiation, but Ashley was able to hold on to the $22,000 grant, which also goes to the Mount Airy Community Garden, which is considered a food forest. So we're really looking forward to what pops up this spring. So thank you very much to all of that. Town Attorney Report, Tom?
Yes, I attended the Planning Commission meeting on 9/26. There were a number of ordinances up for discussion that Councilman Munder already detailed. Prepared a number of the ordinances, not the budget ordinances, but the ordinances and resolutions for tonight's meeting. Also, we're working on still with town staff, the assistance of John and Barney especially, to try and resolve the issues still over the Twin Ridge Stormwater Management Pond. We think we may have come to a resolution a week and a half ago, I guess, with a follow-up inspection last week. But there are a couple of items that we still need to knock out. So we're still working on that, but that's my report.
All right, thank you very much. Councilmember Munder.
Hey, just actually about three more things, it'll be quick. First off, I want to say the Girl Scout cookie season for the Carroll County side of Mount Airy has started, and they are allowed to go door to door. So please no calls to the MAPD saying we got a bunch of Girl Scouts knocking on the doors or event or solicitors selling cookies. They are allowed. Second, at the Frederick County MML, Ashley pretty much, we listened to Ashley because she basically said, don't speak up. We're not losing the money. So we were told basically, we listened to Ashley because there was an interesting auction going on there for the everything. Thirdly, I think I need to not speak out, but congratulate, if I remember this correctly, Councilwoman Galletti, Councilwoman Reed, myself, and town staff John Breeding. The two ladies and town staff John Breeding attended a MML graduation ceremony, I believe, this past about 2 weeks ago. So they are official graduates of the MML, I can't think, Academy of Excellence for Government. I was unable to attend the graduation ceremony, so I just wanted to shout that out to them.
Awesome, congratulations.
And I'm not sure if any of us want to join the, what was it called? They sent something out like the next level of.
There's a graduate.
No, there's torchbearers,
Yeah, there you go.
program. That's a whole nother program that comes after you graduate to be a torchbearer, and they had one woman that got that.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. Thank you. That's it. Thank
All
you,
right.
Council President.
Everyone received the town administrator report. I've also forwarded on the status of projects going on around town. Code enforcement report. You also received your zoning administrator report. We will have a closed meeting. I pulled up the code and everything else. So this is subject to 3-305B, subsection 3, to consider the acquisition of real property for public purpose and matters directly related thereto, the roundabout/traffic circle. At the conclusion of the closed meeting, the town council will be adjourned. Councilmember Demoter?
Yay.
Councilmember Munder?
Yay.
I'm an aye. Councilwoman Reed?
Aye.
Councilwoman Galletti? Aye. All right. We'll move into closed session, and at that time, we will conclude. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.